Mike Rooney. Today's free art lesson is on part 3 of a 3-part series on 5 values. The first one, we took a black and white photo, painted 5 values on top of it. A second exercise, we took a color photo, painted those same 5 values on top of it. And now the third part, what we're going to do is we're going to take the one from part 2, where we took a color photo and painted 5 values on it. We're going to change up those colors. Now I can see a little bit what the colors were, but I'm going to totally change them and show you how really value matters as much or more than color, because as long as the values are right, something will read right. It'll look like a guy on a surfboard, or it'll look like whatever you're trying to paint. The colors don't matter. You can have a purple sky, you can have a purple banana, you can have a yellow sky. It doesn't matter as long as the values are right. So let's look and see how we're going to do that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to lay down, I'm going to pre-mix 5 values, 5 differing values on my palette right here. And I'm going to use colors that I think would go with this picture, just to show you that I'm only using 5 piles of paint. I'm not getting in there and just mixing and painting as I go. That's the important thing. Really cool exercise. Why don't you do it yourself? Take a color photo, paint 5 values over it, and then do another painting from that using totally different colors. So let's look at the scene and say, wow, I'm going to make this really different. I don't want it to be, with white foam or white water behind him. I want to change that to, let's change it to a light purple. And then we're going to have 2 different kinds of blue, or a blue-green and a blue, and then I'm going to change his bathing suit to red and maybe yellow for his top. So I got to still think in 5 values. So let's think like I teach to paint. Number 5, number 1, number 4, number 2, and then everything else is number 3. So let's mix up a number 5 value for his shorts and the top of his hair, or the side of his head where hair meets. So let's say I want his shorts to be red. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, I like magenta a lot, so I'm going to take magenta and I'm going to add a lot of cobalt violet to it. I'm going to make it a really, really red cobalt violet. So I'll scrape all this up and make that. That will be my number 5 pile. Okay. Now I'm going to make a number 1 pile over here, and I'm going to say, I don't know, if I make that light purple, it might not be right. So I'm going to go ahead and I will use white water for that. I'm going to take white and add a little Naples yellow. How about that? So I'm going to take white, add just a little bit of Naples yellow to it, just to give it some sun, to give it some warmth. And that's going to be my number 1. It's a really nice, warm white. See how much warmer it is than regular white? When I put it on there, it's nice and warm. So then there's my number 5, my number 1. Let's mix up a number 3. We said the number 3 was the water down here. So let's mix up a blue and make a nice number 3 blue for that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to tap that blue right on top of here and make sure that it matches in value. And it does. See, when I put the blue inside of the dot, inside of the square, you can barely see it. So that means that that's a good number 3. All right, now let's make a 2. Let's say I want the 2 to be, let's make that like an aqua green. So I'm going to take green, add some white to it to bring it down to a number 2. And then I'm going to add a little bit of blue. Just a little bit of red. I want that to be a grayish blue-green in the back. So there's my number 2. It got a little dark on me, so I'm going to lighten it up some more by putting some white in it and make sure that it's a number 2. And how do I know it's a number 2? Because when I paint it right inside of that number 2 block, it disappears. So we know we got a good number 2. Let's go number 4 is, what was number 4? Number 4 was the under his arm and under his shirt. So let's do that. We're doing a red trunk. No, let's see. Yeah, we're doing red trunks. So let's do it orange. Let's take orange and add red to it and make it a really reddish orange right there. We're going to make it really red. Now, believe it or not, that's only a 3. You're like, no, I'm telling you, that's a number 3. I take that red right there and tap it inside of that. It's a little dark for number 3, according to this. And it's a little bit light for that, so I need to add a little bit of blue to that and kind of make that a burnt orange, and let's see if that's a little bit better. That's even better. See how I put a little dot in there and you can barely see it. So there's my 4 piles. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and draw this out real quick, because I'm not trying to make a painting. I'm just trying to show you how to lay these shapes in real quick in the right colors. So I'm going to draw with magenta, which I always like to draw with magenta. I'm going to really quickly just draw this scene out. So I'm going to make my square. I'm going to say the waves cutting across the top. Then his shorts start about right here. And they look like a little triangle. And then there's a little, let's make it a little bit bigger. Okay, there's a little shape here. And a bigger shape goes over the top. And this cuts down and across. Okay, so then his legs go boom, boom. He's standing on a little board, little surfboard, and then he's bending over, and then it goes this way. Okay, and then his head's up here. So basically, that's real quick. All right, so let's paint in the same order. Number 5, number 1, number 4, number 2. So we take the number 5, and we said that the number 5 is right on this where his hair meets his head, and then these are number 5. So the shorts are number 5. Just one stroke them in real quick. All right, that's all the 5s, right? Now the number 1s was the wave. It's going to pick up a little pink, isn't it? That's cool. We're going to add some more yellow and white to it. Whiten it up. That'll look even better. Because anytime you're painting impressionistically, you want some pink and some yellow to be in your light sun-filled shapes. That's what the Impressionists did. They put little dots of yellow and little dots of red together on the sun shapes, and they used dots of blue and dots of purple on the shadow shapes. And that's what simulated sun. So that's what I'm doing here. I got yellow in some places and white. Okay, so it doesn't look like anything because it's white on white, or it's number 1 on number 1. So we're going to go back with number 4. We're going to paint all the number 4s in. So that was under his chest, down his forearm, on his legs a little bit, the underside of the board. That was it, right? And his face and head. Okay. Number 5, number 1, number 4, now number 2. We said number 2 was the top of his shirt, which we're going to have to do that. We're going to have to do that a different color. We're not going to be able to do these 5 because the C is going to be the same color as his jersey. So let's just let's change it up and just make a nice number 3. Let's see, number 2. What we're going to do is take yellow and orange and make a nice light color for his jersey. Because I don't want that jersey to be the same color as the water. Okay. That's the only difference we'll have to make. Okay, now the rest of this is number 2 up here. So we're going to take that. I'm going to make it a little bit bluer and then lighten it. I didn't like all that gray. I want it really green, but I want a tad of gray in it. So I'm going to take this and stroke that along everywhere else. That's the behind wave. So that's number 2. We need a little bit of that white across the top of the wave. Got to be sure I get that number 1 wave breaking right there. That makes it look like he's hanging 5 on the top of the wave. Okay, and then this is the number 3. And we'll paint the number 3 in. Everywhere else. Oh, I forgot a number 1, didn't I? It's okay. Come back and get that. See that blue against there gives me something to put that 1 on. I'm hard on brushes, so I scrub them. Now remember, we're just blocking it in. I could get tricky and do all kinds of stuff, but I'm not trying to do that now. I need the white for the surfboard. So it looks like he's on the surfboard. I lost the number 4 and the 5. So there's the board. There's his shorts and the underside of his shirt and his forearm. Okay, so that's it. So using 5 values and changing the colors up some, it still reads right. Even though he's orange and his shirt is yellow instead of whatever it was, this thing is still reading like a surfer on a wave. If you squint, you can see the shapes. So that's 3 exercises you can do. Paint on black and white photo. You can paint on a color photo. Then you can take the color photo that you painted on top of and do an actual painting from it. Sometimes I do boats and stuff that way. I'll take a picture, paint on top of it, and then just out of my mind start creating colors like we did on this one, and you end up with a really cool painting. So I hope you enjoyed this free art lesson, and if you want to find out more about me, you can go to my blog. It's MikeRooneyStudios.blogspot.com.